this is Phoebe, and welcome back to Pure Food for Thought. And I'm here with Annarose of Lunch with Lucille, author. And we were just talking about your mother toasting lunchtime.
Correct.
So did she always prepare? Okay, because when you have dinner and you're eating with your family, in the ideal world, you're going to pre-prepare or have dinner ready, the perfect meal on the table. Did she work to prepare that perfect meal at lunchtime?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
No, but we ate out lunch every day.
Oh,
yes.
That's even better.
Yes.
So you don't have to clean up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's problem. Yeah, she didn't want to clean up.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that would be one of her shortcomings, but
Oh.
that we don't go into that in the book. But no, what she would do is, regardless of where she was, if she was working, she was a working mom, she would always stop and go to lunch. I mean, that was her thing, that she would go to lunch, and she would basically hold court at lunch. When I first met my husband, about almost 40 years ago, he came to work where I was working, and he would say to me, "How about we go to lunch today?" You know how they are. And
I wish.
yeah, hey little girl, you want to go to lunch? And I would say to him, "No, I can't go to lunch today, and I can't go to lunch." And he asked me the next day. I said, "No, I'm busy. I can't go to lunch." And he would keep asking and asking, and then one time I said to him, "I'm going to lunch with my mother," and he really thought that I was lying. And then it's like, oh man, I don't know if I really like this woman who keeps now she's giving me a line,
right?
So then I said to him, "Well, why don't you just come to lunch?" And so he came to lunch, and then on the way back from lunch, he said, "Now I know why you go to lunch with her every single day." And it was really a time to fill up again on life. I mean, that's really what lunch was all about. The food was great, whatever.
So sometimes it's nice to separate yourself then, like
Yes.
literally separate yourself from whether your office is at home or whether you're working for someone else, to separate yourself from that space,
Exactly.
right? And kind of clear your head.
Exactly.
So when you did that, did she have like a particular mantra? Did she always start like lunch with a speech or something, or
no.
a toast?
Yes,
You had mentioned.
Yes.
So
she would start lunch with usually a Jack Daniel's on the rocks. With a splash.
I love that. Okay.
And a wedge of lemon. Now, I didn't. I would always not drink at lunch, but she would drink at lunch. And that's what she did. And she would raise the glass, and she would wait till everybody had their drink. Then she would just raise the glass and toast and say salute. And then she would say cent'anni, and in Italian that means 100 years. So what she would do is she would just, and this was effortless. This was not, a scripted something. Right. She would just, and by raising the glass and telling everyone, let's celebrate the day, and I wish you 100 years of good life. I wish it to you. I wish it to you. Everybody in the room, she would wish 100 years, and we would do it to each other, and everybody would smile, and for that 1 second, the world stops, and you're just smiling. Everybody's smiling and laughing, and then
It's just great though. I like that.
Yeah. And then that's lunch. Like, what did you have for lunch today?
Oh, I didn't have lunch that way. My lunch was like awful because I didn't make the time. Sometimes it's hard to make time for yourself.
That's right.
Or we always make excuses like, oh my gosh, it's so hard, right?
Right.
And it's just a matter of priorities.
Exactly.
Right.
And then and that's a good point, because she made this a priority,
right.
and she made me make it a priority because it was so much fun. I mean, it was fun.
Was it a tradition? Like, where did this come from? Is it like a cultural tradition that she was taught by her parents?
I don't think so. No, I think that, at a very early age, and I mean in the sense of early adulthood, at the age of 40, she lost my dad. My dad passed away. So she made a decision, I think, at that point to truly begin, and she may have been doing it before that, but I wasn't really aware of it, to embrace every single day. Because knowing at the age of 40, if life can be taken from you so quickly, then you better make the most of every single day. And so she really did that. I mean, she made the most of every single moment of every single day. Every single thing that she did had some value. She wasn't a great teacher in that sense. She never, some parents get down on the floor and play with their children. So that I didn't have a childhood like that, but I did have a childhood of just laughing and having fun and eating. Eating was a big part. On
Mhm.
Sunday, we all had to be there at 12 o'clock.
Mhm. So it was a family.
Yes.
Like you were brought together over family and
Yes.
whiskey with a
Yes.
splash on the
Yeah.
rocks
Yes.
and a wedge.
Yes.
I love that. So um, when we talk about her experience at the age of 40 that kind of like adapted the way she perceived things, right? What does that have to do with the four diamonds?
Well, the four
Or
diamonds are my look back on how
Mhm.
did she do it. So after she turns 40, okay, and she has this tragic event, she's got 3 children under the age of 10 she has to raise. My father was a doctor, so they lived comfortably. But then uh, at the age of 40, the comfort goes. You know, there's no more the companion, there's no more the income. And now she has the 3 kids. She's got the big house. She's got the big mortgage. She's got to figure out how in the world is she's going to do that, you know,
Mhm.
and she does. And so I'm watching. I'm 4 years old at the time, but I'm starting to watch. And as I get into my 50s, I'm really starting to look back and say, how is this woman doing this? You know? So the first thing I realized is what she did was she changed her perspective. And instead of saying that her life was a burden and the 3 children were a burden to her, you know, and going to make things really hard for her, she saw that as a very uplifting thing. I'm going to figure it out. I got to figure this out, and I can figure this out because I am smart. I have crystallized intelligence. You know, I'm smart. I lived through so much. I know I can live through, you know, I can get through this. So that's really how she saw life. I'll figure it out. I don't know what it is, but I'll figure it out. You know, and she just kept on figuring things out. And I don't think, almost intentionally, I don't think she did that. But really what she did was she constantly changed her perspective.
Right.
And so every day, you know, she was adjusting and readjusting, like calling audibles, so to speak. You know? And then the second thing that she did, and the second diamond, is to let go of the past. So instead of really having the past weigh you down, the couldas, the shouldas, I wish I had, oh, I can't, you know, she never spoke in the negative, and she always spoke in the positive, and she would always, you know, just keep going forward. You know, if you made a mistake, she wouldn't let you wallow in it. She'd just say, okay, let's go. Now what? You know, it was always like, now what? You know, I remember one time I had an argument with her, and I was, you know, I'm pretty good at holding a grudge. And I said, you know, it was about 2 weeks later, I said, and then you know what else? And I remember, Mom, when you did it, she goes, are you still on that? That's like ancient history. And you know, and I was like, wow, I mean, she actually forgot. I mean, she just had given it up.
Did she give herself that? And do you teach the same thing? Do you give yourself that space to let go of things as well?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Because sometimes that's a big problem, I think.
It's a very big problem.
Especially in terms of wellness.
Yes.
Because when you hold all of that in, you can't make yourself a priority, and a lot of things become a distraction.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And it just weighs you down.
Right.
And you'll see it.
Literally.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah. You'll see it in the stress in the face and on the shoulders, you know, people's, you know, and she just didn't, she always stood very tall. She was only 5 feet 2 inches tall.
So she had
you know, but she always carried herself really, really tall. You know,
Right.
people would think that she was tall because she carried herself as she wasn't burdening herself. She was well aware of what had gone on before, you know, but she didn't let it weigh her down, you know, because you can't really run if you're carrying all that baggage.
That's
you
true.
know, yeah. So, and her idea was to run through life, you know. It's a good. So that was the second thing. So the third diamond is to take control of the future, and that's really what she did. Was she can let this go. I'm smart. I'm going to let this go. That anything that's burdening me, and then take control. Where do I want to be? You know.
Right.
So she started out, you know, making goals for herself. And she wasn't one to write the goals down, and you know, she's not this studious person. I don't want. She would write her goals in her head. You know, I mean, she knew where she was heading, where she wanted to be. And one of the places that she wanted to be was to be able to go to lunch every day, and to go to the country club and to have lunch with people. That's what she wanted to do because that's what gave her joy.
Right.
And so, but in order to do that, you need to set aside a certain amount of money to be able to have that. And so that's what she did. You know, she knew that was part of her goals. One of it was a financial goal. So that was her third goal, besides getting an education from me and my 2 brothers. And then the fourth thing, and some people say this probably should be the first diamond, but it was the fourth diamond. I put it in the book as the fourth diamond, is her gratitude attitude.
Okay.
You know, and that's what we're talking about lunch with Lucille. You know, that's really the highlight of what she did, is she was so appreciative for every single day, for waking up every day. You know, it's just another day. It's just another opportunity, you know? And so she would celebrate every day.
So it's pretty simple, but it's still very powerful.
Yes.
And it's applicable in all aspects of your life, from your career. I don't have children, but I imagine with children, your relationships, right? And especially wellness.
Yes.
Because if you can't adapt to whatever your work schedule is or whatever the demands are from your family, and if you can't know exactly what you want, like you have to know what you deserve and what you want, right? You're not going to make time. You're not going to find the time to celebrate.
Exactly.
And be full of gratitude.
Right.
And who wants to live in a place like that, right? I mean, you want to go to lunch and share a cocktail and toast and share a story, right?
Exactly.
So I think that's really interesting. I have to be honest, I haven't read the book yet.
Okay.
It's on my to-do list.
Okay.
And we're traveling a lot this winter, so I'm going to take it with me on the road. And I do want to read the book.
Great.
But I love the concept of especially sharing that kind of moment of gratitude over a meal.
Yep.
Because that's the way it should be, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's what uplifting experience.
Yes, it's very uplifting experience. And the last thing is that we talk about is the chain. We call that the chain of persistence, because we know that it's difficult. You know, these are 4 life lessons that you practice over and over and over again, and each one is connected to the next one. But it takes persistence,
right.
You know, and every day, you know, we get hit with something else, but then we need to start again.
Okay, I love that. You don't have it tattooed on your arm or anything.
No,
you just
not
wear the
yet.
brooch. Okay.
Not yet.
Because maybe it needs to be a ring, so I see it
there you
all
go.
the time, like a little ring like that.
You can do
pretty
that
too, right?
She
Little
did
4 diamonds.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We can put the diamonds anywhere.
Right.
Oh, I do have 4 diamonds. Yeah. Yeah, we can put the diamonds anywhere.
I love that. I think it's a great concept, and I think it's wonderful, especially that attitude of gratitude and sharing it with friends over a meal, the toasting, and the 2 forms of learning. And appreciating all of it at every stage in your life, I think, is probably really valuable. And not waiting until you're 40 or 50 to celebrate like this wisdom.
That's right.
And to share it. You can celebrate it at 27.
That's right.
I'm almost 27. I'm totally lying. I'm not. But thank you so much for joining us. I think this was so much fun.
Thanks, Phoebe.
And celebrate every chance you have and take the time out midday to celebrate. So thank you so much. It's been so much fun. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and the episodes, and I look forward to seeing you next time.